What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Wars with your boys. And then again and again, when is it enough? Jon Jones caught with steroids post-fight. Post-fight, or was it before the fight? That's the question that a lot of people are going to be interested in knowing. Was it before the fight? Was it not before the fight? And when you see this, it's like you got the biggest boxing fight coming up in like a decade. And this is where we're at. We're talking about Jon Jones. We're not talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. We're talking about Jon Jones right now going into the biggest event in boxing history, people. And yet we're back to square one where seemingly we always end up with Jon Jones. And you know what? I was very skeptical of how I was going to approach this because we have a lot of fighters on our Facebook. We have a lot of fighters we know. So this doesn't go out to all of them. This goes out to only a select few in the MMA community. If you get offended by this, then you probably are doing something shady. If you're not doing something shady, then you shouldn't be offended with what I'm about to say to you. But when you look at Jon Jones, who's one of the elite premier athletes in mixed martial arts or in sports for that matter, when you carry the magnitude that he has of being a superstar and being a role model for the youth to get popped not once but twice for steroid use. Dude, what are you doing? You guys are supposed to be role models. You guys have stories to tell to the general public that many people can't associate with. That's one reason why I love the MMA community. That's why I love talking to the fighters, because the fighters have great stories to tell. And in that process, they give you that upper level of, you know what, if that guy can do it, I can do it. I was thinking about this going yesterday, all day yesterday. Here's a prime example. Tyrone Ware. If he's watching us, I give him props. Because he's one of the prototypical guys that when you're talking about you want someone to be a role model, look at Tyrone Ware. I don't know him quite personally or anything like that, but just from the just that I get from him on Facebook, he's somebody you want to look up for. Why? Because of the fact that he's a grinder. He finally made it to the UFC after all these years of putting in hard work, long hours in the gym, wanting to push forward and put the best foot forward. If you're looking for a grinder, if you're looking for a role model, he's one of them. Lynn Vassell.
Another one, yeah.
Another one of them. Met the guy in person. Loved the guy. Loved chatting up with him. Been on our show several times. The aspect I get from him, humble guy. Very down to earth. Very intuitive with what he wants to accomplish in the MMA community. You look back at what Jon Jones is, he's a scrub. Is it a little bit harsh to say? Sure it is. Is it maybe wrong? Sure it is. But at the bottom of the line, he's a scrub. That's as bad as you could get. A guy that has, pound for pound, the most in the tank to do things that nobody has seen since Muhammad Ali, and you go ahead and put your worst foot forward. How dare you go in front of an octagon, kneel before everybody else and say, I'm forever a changed man. If you're forever a changed man, how can you do something that is so wrong that you knew you were going to get popped? You know what? I saw it earlier. An Instagram post about saying that Jon Jones is being set up. Okay? Let me educate you on something. A couple years ago, when Jon Jones first got in trouble with the law,
right,
and then he came back, I had a conversation with our buddies from Fightbook. Our buddy, Roberto, I had a conversation with him because of Gate. The supplement company Gate is a German-based company that is forever known as a tainted supplement company, okay?
Always has been.
German supplement company. Okay? That's an issue. The drug of choice that he got popped for was an oral steroid called Turnbull that is, wait for it, Germany-based. So to say that this was a setup is insane and ludicrous because he knew what he was taking and when he was taking it. Didn't he get popped a while ago for an estrogen blocker? This, again, is another steroid that helps out with an individual that has testosterone issues within their body. It is not a high anabolic steroid, but it's still classified as a steroid. Here, go a little bit step further. Because this is a German-based, did you know that back in, 1972? Somewhere around there? That in Germany, in the Olympics, Germany got popped for using this anabolic steroid where they were feeding all their Olympic athletes
All the same steroid.
all the same steroids. Whether you were an Olympic runner, whether you were an Olympic wrestler, whatever it may be back then,
They were all getting the same
they were
supplement.
all being injected with this steroid because what it did is that you lost your fat a lot easier. You leaned out a lot easier.
It was easier for you to make weight and get underneath the radar. Now, the issue with Jon Jones is that, dude, like I keep telling everybody this, okay? You are a byproduct of who you associate yourself with, right?
Absolutely.
So people tend to kind of throw this by the wayside. Is who else has been popped for that same steroid? Let me think about this. Oh yeah, it's his inner circle. It's his family. His brothers have been caught for steroids. One of his brothers was released by the New England Patriots for the same steroid. So don't give me this conspiracy theory that
he didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't knowingly know what he took. Come on. Are you seriously going to sit at the table and pull a Rafael Palmeiro in the court? I did not knowingly take steroids. Whoops, that was more of my Bill Clinton impersonation there. My bad. I did not knowingly go with the... You know what I'm saying. But you cannot look at Jon Jones the same way. This guy was given a golden opportunity
to come back.
To right the wrongs. You and I were talking about before we got onto the show was here we go at this point in his career that where do you go as a fighter? Because at some point you have to be held accountable for your actions. I still wait for Dana White to come out and say something about this situation because he's really kind of kept it tight-lipped. But in the meantime, when you're doing so, how do you hold credibility for that title, for that light heavyweight title?
How can you, as a fighter, want to even compete at a high level for this light heavyweight title when knowingly that it's tainted? Why would you want to wear a title that has been represented by a knowingly steroid user for basically 2 years? Why is it that you want to put that belt around your waist? You just ruined the light heavyweight division by letting this guy come back. So what are you doing with this aspect? You've got guys like Ozdemir, a beast and a half who's putting his name on the line each and every single night and making a statement about how he's one of the baddest light heavyweight dudes on the planet. DC, even though he got beat by Jon Jones twice on steroids.
Okay, let's talk about DC real quick. How do you feel as a man, okay, that you face Jon Jones, you lose to Jon Jones, comes out that he gets popped for cocaine and steroids, and then, here we go. Comes back, gets suspended for a year. Comes back again, beats DC again, and then he loses the title again to Jon Jones, only for Jon Jones to get popped from steroids again. Where do you put your mind from Daniel Cormier at this point? Knowing that you can't beat a man like Jon Jones, you held in the division for a while Jon Jones was gone. Do you really want that light heavyweight title?
That's the biggest question here.
What is left for DC to prove?
What's left to prove for DC? What is left
Because
for
the
this
only
light
person-
heavyweight division? That's the biggest question going forward. How do you respond? How does the UFC respond to this situation? You know, Fightbook in the chat room says that Jon Jones goes to Rising. Well, unfortunately, that's probably the only place he can go. He can't fight stateside. He'll be lucky if he gets another year banned. But my biggest question then to you is, well, he got suspended for a year, came back, won the title, got suspended, or got popped for steroids again. Does he get suspended for another year and then come back again and beat DC again and then take the title again and then get popped again?
See, this is where I think that the MMA world needs to stand up, because if you could put a suspension together in Major League Baseball for 80-plus games, for a 2-year ban, if you can do that in baseball, there should be some kind of ramifications for what Jon Jones has done. Since it's not his first time, it's not his first offense, it is his second offense.
That's where the lifetime ban should be coming into play. If you've got Wanderlei Silva that got suspended, you've seen Nick Diaz get suspended for marijuana. So at some point, you got to roll over and say, you know what, Jon Jones, dude, you did this to yourself.
Right?
There's nothing left. We gave you every opportunity to right your wrongs and you didn't do it. That's not our fault. That's your fault. You didn't figure it out. It's not us. That's the fact that this is what happens in this world, in this day and age where we're at. You know what? I didn't want to go this part. I really didn't. But this is what's wrong with society that we are in right now. Okay? Is the sense that everybody gets this self-entitlement.
Yeah, they do.
Everybody says, oh, I deserve this. I deserve this. Without having to work for it. Because Jon Jones was gifted the God-given ability to be amazing at a combat sports that many people haven't seen in a decade. He took it for granted. Because he got so famous so quick, the problem with athletes in this day and age, and all of our athlete buddies on Facebook can attest to this. Because 98% of them are legit good guys. So they can attest to what I'm about to say. When you get big and you get locked into your own little world, in order to avoid chaos and in order to avoid those people of your inner circle trying to bite the hand that feed them, you need somebody to say no. Somebody that's not afraid to step up and say, yo, no, Jon Jones, this is wrong. No, he has way too many people in his corner that say yes, 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 oh, and yes again. That's why we're here. Maybe Jon Jones is right. Maybe the fact is that he's not that bad of a guy. But is he really that naive? Is he really that in denial? That's the question. That's the ones that we need to have answered. I saw it on Facebook. Our buddies from MMA House, Gordon McDonald, you saw that one.
Yep.
Said that this Jon Jones, best movie. He's right.
Because
this could
we
be
can
the
go
best.
all the way back to a show that used to be on TV called True Hollywood Story.
And this would be a perfect segment for that. And when you talk about that, again, it then goes back into the character of Jon Jones. Would you be able to get an authentic
Jon Jones,
story
right,
about how we got here with Jon Jones, whether it was a movie or an E-special?
Okay, but let's talk about this, okay? We're talking about all the negative sides about Jon Jones. Let's talk about, somebody needs to get him help.
We've been saying that. He went to rehab and ducked out of rehab in less than 24 hours.
A pathological liar. It starts to consume you, and it starts becoming who you are.
When you tell a lie, and then you got to keep telling a lie to keep up with that lie.
At some point, you start believing that lie is true. And I think that's where we're at with Jon Jones, is that he's told lies over and over again, that he's starting to believe his own lies. And I think that's a danger to himself and his inner circle, his people that have been around. Dude, I've heard the stories all the way to the times of where he was with his brothers, partying it up, doing cocaine parties from house party to house party when he was in college, to taking drunken drives, in which he's being accused of with a DUI hit and run. This is nothing new, folks. Jon Jones seriously needs help because of the lies that have mounted on top of him. He no longer has this clear-cut kind of mantra that surrounds him that he needs to kind of push away from everybody else. But that's when they need help the most.
Exactly. And what we're starting to see is are we going to see another evolution of an athlete spiraling out of control like Mayhem Miller? Because what is Jon Jones going to do with himself if he gets another year ban or gets another maybe a lifetime ban at this point?
Okay, but how bad would it be? How bad would it be right now? Everybody that is watching us live right now on Facebook and on YouTube, how bad would this be right now if it said breaking news, Jon Jones is dead at the age of 27? How would everybody react to that news? Because mental health is nothing to play around with, and I'm tired of everybody that has had issues with mental health and stuff like that. And you get to a point where the thoughts in your head become real. And at this point, he's more harmful to himself
absolutely
than he is to others. And we as a society need to start standing up for those individuals instead of talking down upon them, and help them rise up and stand on their own 2 feet.
And that's why the whole comment a few minutes ago goes firmly with what you just said, is that you need more people that say no in your circle. To not afraid to put you in your place and hold you accountable for your actions so you don't harm yourself and you don't harm your other people around you. The people, you already saw him harm his people by getting into a DUI car accident and almost killing somebody.
Yep.
That would have been prevented if his inner circle
stood up,
held him accountable.
But his inner circle is an issue. I'm sorry, dude, you're my brother. Love you to death. But if I was on drugs and I was doing something wrong, I would expect nothing less than you to grab me and straighten me out. He has 2 big-time brothers. Why don't they stand up for Jon Jones? Oh, wait, because they do the exact same thing. That's a problem. That's how you raise your kids nowadays? In this society, we no longer care about an individual and about a person.
Health. We take it for granted and say, you know what? Oh, he just needs to man up. Some people can't. Some people can't.
Like, there is so much more to this situation.
So that's why I said that, you know what? At the beginning, I want to say, you know what? I want to slam, but I want to freaking roast Jon Jones. Granted, I've obliterated Jon Jones in less than, 10 minutes. I've annihilated the guy. I put him on a post and held him up just like everybody else. But then reality hits. And you take a step back. And you think about life. And you think about, how did we get here? Why are we here? What can we do to change this?
See, we think about a broader picture. We think about helping others, educating others. Regardless of your personal feelings about this man, I think there is a deeper rooted issue that we don't know outside of that. We can put 2 to 2 together. We can see it from the outside world. But I think of it, we go back to family, friends. That's what I look at.
And that's a shame that we're here at this point with Jon Jones. One time, a legacy so much greater crumbles like Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall.
Yep. I think of him as a bad plum. You grab a plum, you eat it, you get that initial sweetness to it. Then once you get to that pill, it's that bitter little tart. That's what Jon Jones is right now. I would rather say to the MMA community, not the media. I'm not talking about the media, because media will, as much as we want to say it, the media will ridicule somebody, slam somebody.
They'll crucify somebody. In a blink of an eye.
But here on the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors, we do something so much different than anything else. I want to call upon the MMA community on Twitter, on Facebook. Don't bash Jon Jones. Let's get him the help that he needs. Just like I was there when Mayhem Miller was going crazy. Sometimes these fighters need that extra help. Instead of digging at them, taking shots at them when you can, being a keyboard warrior,
do it within context, like we
Right.
did. Do it within context, and then flip it. Just flip it. Give it a different dynamic.
absolutely. But
And know that there's another rooted issue there than just being a simple, I'm going to just rip them a new one. Cool, do that. But also know that there's an underlying issue that is so much greater that Jon Jones needs help.
yep. And
Clear.
And here we go into our break. We are the Sports Warriors. We got the latest news, the latest opinions. We are one of the realest talks. We come at you from different angles. We give you different opinions than what you hear out there on the net. Period.
Oh, different opinions? Oh, I got that for days. Coming
Right?
up next with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
Coming up this weekend.
Check out our Facebook pages, Sean and Tristan Ducross, our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com for all the latest news and rumblings. If you want to talk to us in the chat room, come on, say something. We got the MayMac Tour. It's about to get real. Saturday the 26th. It's going down. Worlds collide. More with the Sports Warriors right after this.
You're listening to Sean and Tristan across the Sports Warriors. Check us out on Facebook Live and YouTube on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or you can visit our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com.
All right, everybody. We are back. We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. On my side, as always, my partner in crime, Sean Ducross. If anybody's new to our show today, we are the Sports Warriors, a combat sports talk show. We are an opinion-based talk show. We shoot from the hip. We come at you with the facts, different sides. We throw in a little bit of life in there. That's what we do. Fast forward to Saturday. The Mayweather-McGregor fight that is said to be a circus, that's said to be, it's only one way. It is Floyd's way. Nobody's giving credit where credit's due. That Conor McGregor is inside this squared circle, going one-on-one with the man that is 49-0, where Conor McGregor is trying to be that 1-49-1. That is what Conor is trying to do. Set a precedent that nothing like this has ever been done. And it could happen come Saturday.
When worlds collide on Saturday, it'll be the biggest boxing pay-per-view quite this time since ever. And I had some interesting conversations. You know, it's been one of those things that, hey, is this legit? Is this fight fixed? Let me throw something out here before we start kind of breaking down the pay-per-view, okay? Because I just want to throw this out there and get it out of the way and say it is what it is. Okay, here's an interesting tidbit. You want to know if this fight's fixed? You know what fence we've been on. You know that we've been on the side of Conor McGregor, saying don't doubt Conor McGregor. Want to know something I read? No mainstream media is making a prediction if Conor McGregor is going to win this fight. We may not be mainstream media, but everybody that is watching us right now on Facebook, everybody that has us on Facebook, everybody that talks to us on Fightbook MMA knows that we say Conor McGregor will win. Bold statement. Sure it is. Will I back down from it if he loses? Absolutely. I'll admit I eat crow. But at the same time, though, I'll be one of the people in the media that will stand firm and say Conor McGregor has a shot at winning this fight, where people say no chance. But here's the interesting thing. Look at all the tie-ins here about how we got here. Conor McGregor was a rising star in the UFC. Mr. I can talk with the best of them. I will buy myself into a fight because I have the biggest mouth on the planet. So let me see if we can throw this back. Instead of Throwback Thursday or whatever it is, we'll throw back Wednesday. When Conor McGregor became Conor McGregor, and I say that as such, is that when Conor McGregor became this bigger than name personality, who was he fighting? Jose Aldo. In that scenario, people were saying, no way, he can't beat Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo's going to kick his head in. Says 13 seconds later. Jose Aldo is the best, and then they go on a media tour. Media scrum. Doesn't this sound familiar? You come back 2017, people saying Conor McGregor can't beat Floyd Mayweather. He's the best defensive boxer on the planet. Is he? He's the most accurate striker in boxing history. Doesn't this sound familiar? This is equivalent to Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor version 2.0. So, Floyd Mayweather is your Jose Aldo in this situation. Is it that far-fetched that Conor McGregor may beat Floyd Mayweather? Absolutely not. Zuffa Boxing presented itself on this tour. Well, it was always known that the Fertitta brothers and Dana White
always wanted to get in the boxing world.
Had no intention of ever ducking out, so to speak, out of the UFC. But what they had in mind was to set up some of the biggest fights this side that we've ever seen. So what does this mean for Zuffa Boxing? When will we see Zuffa Boxing? If you go back during this presser, go back and listen to the words of Floyd Mayweather, in which he looked at Dana White multiple times and indicated of underlying dealings that they would have been working together.
Sean, what was the famous words that Floyd said to Dana White? He looked at him and said, see, you, my friend, you make money. I've always loved you. I've always had this respect for you. Not because he carried his bags, but because they've been talking ever since. Funny, right?
Yeah. So they've been talking about this for a decade. They just had it for the right time and find the right opponent for Floyd Mayweather. So what is next? Win, lose, or draw, Conor McGregor doubled his net worth, as he says. Conor McGregor doesn't have to win this fight.
Nope.
All he has to do is show up and not get embarrassed and let Floyd Mayweather collect the 50-0 and go on his merry way. Or this could go completely sideways and Conor McGregor shocks the world, turns everything upside down, and he's literally the king of combat sports. Then we go to yesterday. In the media scrum in Las Vegas, Paulie Malignaggi seen getting into a verbal altercation with Conor McGregor. allegedly wanting to get at Conor McGregor's manager. Okay, let's throw back again.
He said that he only wanted to get at his manager because he wanted to pull him aside, have a one-on-one conversation with the man, but he blamed it all on the media as to why he got confronted by Conor McGregor.
Yeah, so throw back again. Who does Paul Malignaggi start to remind you of? That guy from Stockton. Nick and Nate Diaz. More so Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz talked his way into the biggest fight of his career when he wasn't talked about as a title contender, wasn't even talked about as a guy worthy of $1 million bout. Conor McGregor opened that door for Nate Diaz. So Nate Diaz came through that, started talking mad smack about how he was going to do this, that, and the other to Conor McGregor. Oh, gee. What are we hearing with Paulie Malignaggi?
Now he's talking junk.
I'm talking junk to Conor McGregor. And I'm going to say, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
Because
bring your balls.
And he knows what that means. And he said he knows what that means because at the sparring, apparently he doesn't have any. And said that he quit against Nate Diaz. Dude, I took to social media because I wanted to hear what other people were saying about Paulie and about him saying that. So 13 seconds that he knocked out Jose Aldo means nothing, Sean.
Precision beats power.
Right? Then you look at the Eddie Alvarez massacre. That doesn't count, right? Because he can't win in a big fight, but he beat 13 seconds Jose Aldo. He beat Eddie Alvarez in just a bloody war. Beat both of them, okay? Yes, he tapped out against Nate Diaz, but then he toyed with him his second fight. So let's stop rehashing and reliving about what happened with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz in one. Because in two, Nate Diaz looked like he didn't even belong in the same ring as Conor McGregor. That's real talk. This Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight is going down Saturday. We will see firsthand who wins, who doesn't win. It is that simple. This is going to change the course of boxing, period. After, I told you this, remember? After the fight, this Zuffa brand, you're going to remember it after that fight. Something's going to happen after this fight.
Yeah, what's going to happen is the fact that you're already seeing a prelude to what's the future.
And the future is
Paul Malignaggi versus Conor McGregor. This fight is already predetermined, already laid out. All Conor McGregor has to do is not get embarrassed. And then guess what? Floyd Mayweather made Conor McGregor the richest combat guy in history. So he'll return the favor and let Paul Malignaggi fight one more time.
And do you not?
And give him his biggest payday and the exit from boxing.
Do you not understand that the money that this fight is going to garnish is incredible? I get it. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. This fight is so much bigger than what everybody's making it out to be. It's just sad that it won't be the type of fight that everybody wants it to be.
And that's the thing is that...
And I see this as a letdown and as a draw. Kind of like what I felt like when I watched the Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather fight. All this hype. All this build-up. And you know what you're going to get? You're going to get Conor McGregor standing in one corner. Floyd Mayweather standing in the other. And you know what? This is exactly. You're going to hear it first. Right here on the Sports Words. This is what's going to happen. Conor McGregor is going to come out. He's going to try to bully Floyd Mayweather. He's going to try to clinch, throw some rabbit punches. He's going to try to push the fight a little bit in the first couple of rounds. And I say that first couple of rounds because I truly believe that if Conor does not end the fight within 5 rounds, this fight's going the distance, and that fight will go to Floyd Mayweather, period. Because Floyd will start doing what Floyd does, start running from his opponent and playing defense.
And that's his
And
that's
doing
his style.
enough as a boxing purist to win the fight.
And that is his style. His style is to go ahead and play defense. So when you look at everything and you're going through the channels of what's to come from everything that we're seeing, well, what's left? What do you want to see from this? And I was talking to our guys from Loaded Joe's. I was talking to Blake the other morning. And he's like, I find it funny. You guys are so firm on Conor McGregor. But at the same time, I'll admit, realistically, what is to come from this? Realistically, on paper, it's Floyd Mayweather. You ain't going to beat him. He's too composed, stylistically. So, what will happen? And we'll touch on this towards the end of the show because we got some comments that we apparently missed. So we'll get to them here towards the end of the show to touch back
Trey
on.
Davenport, John Richard McElroy, and Joseph S. King. We will get to those comments shortly. Just be patient.
But yeah, so when you look at it on paper, prediction says it needs to be Floyd Mayweather. It needs to be that way. Yeah, you know what? It'll be bad to see Conor McGregor go 0-1. But would it really? Would it really hurt his stock?
See, that's what I said. Like, Floyd has so much more to lose coming into this fight than Conor does. Conor loses, back to the drawing board. Floyd Mayweather, he gets that 1 in 49-1. His legacy, everything that he has built, gone in an instant. Regardless if anybody wants to admit it or not, that's the reality of the situation.
And the reality of the situation is that these guys are making a boatload of money. The worth of this already is $390 million.
Incredible.
The total revenue expected for this is $410 million. Over $500 million, surpassing the $410 million that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao made.
They signed a no disclosure agreement about letting out their financial split. And I get that, but man, the amount of money that is literally on the table is incredible. But the thing is,
and want to know what's incredible, Tristan?
Is that other fighters on this card, on this prelim card,
are legit,
but they're also going to get a portion of this fight.
Yeah.
So not only is it a payday for the 2 stars,
it's a payday for everybody
that's on the prelims.
And name recognition if you didn't already know. And the thing is that you're looking at what's to come. It's like, one thing that didn't necessarily annoy me, Tristan, but I was looking stuff up and trying to figure this out because it still bothers me when Mayweather says, I'm the A side, you're the B side, I'm Team Money. Did you know that Floyd Mayweather did not make most of his money until the Manny Pacquiao fight?
Correct.
He was only worth
that's what I keep telling people.
He was only worth $32 million. Granted, that's still a lot of money.
And he's always been a big time money draw.
Granted, but he's worth $700 million according to Forbes list. Half of that net worth came from the Manny Pacquiao fight.
Yep.
Half. So is he really the A side in this fight? If the biggest payday he got was 32, and the biggest payday that McGregor really got was what, 15 mil?
Correct. And you look at Conor McGregor's net worth, and it's just on whatever site you want to look at. You're looking at either $2.5 million or double that. it's interesting to see that when you're looking at the net worth of these two guys and you're thinking about, man, the money that these guys are going to get paid from a little Ireland boy that made a dream come true. How about that as a story in itself? But nobody's talking about that. A guy that was nothing, fighting and on food stamps. That's what this guy was on. Now he's potentially that he could crack almost $500,000. When you're looking at everything that's playing out on this, it couldn't have played out any better. I mean, Floyd Mayweather gets two guys from his camp on his card to showcase. If you're looking at the undercard, Gervonta Davis, Floyd Mayweather's guy, versus Francisco Fonseca. You remember Francisco Fonseca versus the battles that he just recently had. The wars.
18-0 versus 19-0.
Someone's gots to go.
Gervonta Davis is coming in defending his IBF super featherweight title.
Oh, and I got a bone to pick with IBF too later on the show. Woo! International Boxing Federation, boys, you guys are dirty. But yeah, I'll talk about that here with the Terrance Crawford situation. Are you kidding me?
So you look at this fight and you're looking at the bruisers that these two possess. The fact is that Davis is a dangerous southpaw with freakishly power. Looks like a mini tank or like Mike Tyson coming at you 10 full that's ready to rain down lefts like it's going out of style.
That's actually a good call because he loves to fight inside. I was going to say a David Tua, but people probably looking at us like, who the hell is David Tua?
Come on now. If you know boxing, you know who David Tua is.
Right.
If you know who boxing is, then you know who Jeff Left Hook Lacey is.
Right.
So you look at everything that's going on and transitioning to what is going on in this fight card. Fonseca, this is his first fight stateside. First fight in the U.S. Becomes the third opponent for Davis to fight that is undefeated. But is this guy, granted he's been in some really good fights, is it really worthwhile of seeing that, his resume is against sub 500 fighters? Does he really deserve the IBF super featherweight title shot? That goes back to what we're going to discuss a little bit later. Is this really worthwhile? Do we really need to see a IBF contender fighting a world-class champion that is clearly above
his pay grade?
And again, it goes back to what we saw. It's showcasing. They're going to showcase Gervonta Davis in the best light because millions of people are going to be watching. It's just like, really? Badu Jack versus Nathan Clevery.
Easy win.
Easy money. Easy. Point to the easy money. Clevery, all he's going to do is come in there and basically be that guy for Badu Jack who's moving up and aiming to take the WBA light heavyweight title away from Clevery. Clevery won his title on a freak accident of a 6-round stoppage because his last guy that had the title, Brahammer, dislocated his elbow. Since then, he's kind of like rode a roller coaster.
Lacey Hancock in the chat room says, dang, I wish I was only worth $32 million. Dang, I wish I had $1,000 in my pocket. What are you talking about?
That explains why he could start his own strip club. Because he took that $32 million and put it to a strip club.
Dude, come on. Can you complain with him? He's making money on the side, making it rain for the strippers. Hey, at least they're getting paid.
Shout out to the 50 strippers on his payroll. Dude, that's going to live in infamy. Even if Conor McGregor loses, just the way he said that. Shout out to the 50 strippers on his payroll. Best line ever. But Badu Jack We've seen him fight. He fights either suspect, he fights okay. He was always a little bit heavy. When he fought James DeGill, it was one of those like little rocky ones. Like, he's good. He shows the caliber of what he was. Then he wanted to relinquish his title and move up in weight.
Dude, I just hope that he does not turn into another Adrian Bronner. All this potential that can make you a star, and you just kind of throw it by the wayside.
But he hasn't, because he was a WBC World Super Middleweight title holder. He vacated it to move up to 175 to compete. Because he realized that he was struggling a little bit to maintain his weight. So he knew his only option was, yeah, you know what, I won this title, but I need to go up in weight. It's better for me that way. So you've got a lot of good quality fights coming up that you don't want to sleep on. So while we talked about Conor McGregor and we talked about Floyd Mayweather, we're going into a break in a minute. But I will say this going out. I'm not afraid. Conor McGregor, 5th round, knockout. Floyd Mayweather goes to sleep. World turns upside down. Internet breaks. People start complaining on Facebook all over again, like it's the solar eclipse. Things are going to go dark.
You're going to go blind.
It'll be as if the apocalypse has just risen.
Yep.
Your call.
Sorry. I'm going to say that Conor's going to knock out Floyd in 4 rounds. And it's going to be a bad knockout. Let me just tell you that. It's going to be bad. And everything's going to break and stop working. This is going to be like Y2K. When the internet was supposed to go up in flames, that's what's going to happen. People will lose their damn minds.
If Floyd Mayweather
gets knocked out, this world is over as we know it. Cars are going to be flipped. Cars will be burned. The boxing purists will be crying. Everybody known to man, every so-called MMA fan and boy that hated and loved Conor, gonna stand up and say, I told you. But only here on the Sports Warriors do we actually put our word out there to the public, regardless of being right or wrong.
Because then if we're wrong, we'll just simply come right back and say, you know what? My apologies.
This is what happened. This is how we see it.
But if I announce that my prediction comes true, we'll be the GOATs of the internet and be the legends that are the first ones to call Conor McGregor a victor.
Yes, sir. But we are the Sports Warriors. We are the one-stop shop for all your combat sports needs. From talking Muay Thai to boxing to MMA, you name it, we got it right here on the Sports Warriors with the Ducross brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. On my side, as always, is my partner in crime, Sean Ducross. There is no fluff, real opinions, real talk, real guys. Sean, undercard versus prelims. That's what we're talking about. Entertaining, non-entertaining. What is the way to go at Bellator 182? We got our breakdown of that card and where we're heading. Be right back.
You're listening to Sean and Tristan across the Sports Warriors. Check us out on Facebook Live and YouTube on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or you can visit our website at www.ducrossbrothers.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. Shout out to a couple people in the chat room. We got Michael Zahn, Lacey Hancock, Holly. We got Joseph S. King. We got John, Trey Davenport. We got plenty of people that are talking to your boys right now. So come on over, talk some combat sports with your boys. Sean and Tristan across the Sports Wars. We're always available to talk combat sports. We make it perfectly known that we are reachable. You can hit us up on Facebook at Sean and Tristan Ducross. Add us, friend us. We don't care who you are. Be a friend, be a fan. Come on down. We'll talk combat sports. You can find us over at Fight Book MMA. We talk combat sports with those guys all day, every day. Bellator 188. Andre Korskov versus Chidi Nkoani. It's going down. I kind of feel like that he's the unsung hero, and all I can say is about dang time for Chidi, because he's been on a roller coaster ride and he's heading right towards the silver lining.
He is, and if you're Andre Korskov, you just got knocked out by Douglas Lima.
His first fight after losing the welterweight.
And you're looking at, well, what does Chidi bring to the table? He brings Muay Thai.
Yeah, he does.
He brings elbows and knees, and from angles that you do not see. Ooh, that was a good rhyme.
Okay.
That was a good rhyme. Ooh, that was so dirty. That was so good.
Really?
I didn't realize that until I said it. I was like, ooh, that was legit. Sorry. Just had to say it, dude. Every once in a blue moon.
Okay, Eminem.
Every once in a minute, I get going. Blessed Man Sanso says that.
Hopefully we got that one right.
Right?
I hope I said his name right. Welcome to the chat. Says, I think McGregor is hero because this is a history fight. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. He's already here. He already did stuff that everybody said he couldn't do.
He doesn't have to win. He doesn't. Like, y'all don't know.
He just needs to strut his way down to the ring.
With the Irish music blaring in the background.
And people chanting, ole, ole, ole. And that's it.
Does people not understand that 95% of the bets are for Conor? Not just that. Do you not understand that how many... Sean, okay. Do you not understand that how much Killigan's beer is going through the roof? Or Guinness is going through the roof right now? Like, they should be making...
Smithwick's?
Right. The Irish beers should be going through the roof right now. Kilnari's down the road in Temecula, they're running a promotion for a VIP status to get free food and Irish beer. Dude, everybody, it's already a win situation for Conor.
That's the thing that boggles my mind. People don't realize Conor McGregor just has to walk down.
He just has to get in the ring.
All he has to do is, dude, he could just throw back and do the Bernie.
Right?
All day.
Hey. That's all you got to do.
But anyways, I digress. But yeah, so if Andre Korskov wants to come back and right the wrong of losing to Douglas Lima and getting knocked out, he's got to watch the tricky tricks from Chidi. Because if he doesn't, Chidi's going to knock out Andre Korskov and walk right into a title fight.
Chidi, bang, bang.
So this fight card on paper has a lot going for itself. And you look across at that, you got Fernando Gonzalez versus Brendan Ward. I die by the sword, Brendan Ward. Kind of like the new version of Luis Palomino. You know I'm going to come out. You know I'm going to throw hands. You know I'm going to throw leather. I'm either going to get knocked out or put you to sleep.
But this is the first fight that I can honestly say that, hey, about time Fernando Gonzalez gets a guy that he can literally look in the eyes
and just stand there and
throw.
He's
going to have a fight on his hands. And I'm thinking that this could almost be the fight of the night because either one of these guys are going to go out on their shield.
Yeah. And you're talking about going out on their shield? Well, you're talking about those are the two main fight cards. The two fights on this Bellator 182 card. But you're not talking about the rest of the bottom card. They should have filled up the rest of the card with the fact that how do you put Georgi Korhanian versus Daniel Pineda on the undercard?
Wait.
How do you put Chris Honeycutt
I was just gonna say
and
that.
Kevin Casey on the undercard? You insane?
How do you put... Okay.
That's just trying to drive ratings to SpikeTV.com.
Sean, Chris Honeycutt, dude, at one time, this guy was thought to be the next world champ. Now you tell me he's on prelims? Like, who are you kidding? I don't care if he's on prelims. And he's facing Kevin Casey, who lost his last two fights and got kicked out of the UFC.
But the thing, though, about Kevin Casey is that despite being 36 years old, this guy's not afraid of a fight. He came out and said that when he signed with Bellator, that he simply wants to fight the best. He wants to fight the best in the middleweights. But okay, he's one of those guys that he either can do one of two things. He can either give you another name to the resume, or he's going to put you to his resume.
Yep. And see, I don't like that, man. I love that. I love guys that say, you pay me, you put me in the line of fire. Rich True does a great job with that over at Bellator. That a lot of these guys, that regardless of where you stand or on your record, it's about fights. It's about who says, hey, dude, I'll step up any given week. And that's what Kevin Casey's doing against Chris Honeycutt. On paper, that matchup doesn't make sense at all because I think it's just a name to Honeycutt's record.
But you've got to do that for Chris Honeycutt because Chris Honeycutt is coming off again another injury. He's trying to reestablish himself. He is still very impressive in his early career of 9-1. The guy has the it look. He has the it thing about him that you want to try to give him an opportunity to cement himself in the middleweight division.
You know who has the it factor, though? That kid named A.J. McKee.
But again, I don't like A.J. McKee's matchup. I'm tired. A.J. McKee's matchups are seeming like MVP's matchups.
They're building this guy up. They're building a star. He is going to be the next featherweight champion. It's just, without a doubt, it's going to happen.
We already know he's a star.
22 years old, 8-0. The only thing that Blair Tugman has for his resume is the fact that when he debuted back in 2007, dude, A.J. McKee was 12 years old. 12. He was just learning how to ride a bike.
He wasn't even wet behind the ears yet. That's my favorite line this week. He wasn't even wet behind the ears.
That's because you have a kid.
Right? I was going to bring her on the show today, but then I got nervous.
She was talking.
She was.
I told you should have brought her on.
Well, not necessarily talking, but she was gurgling.
Right.
She was talking in baby talk. It's
but
cute.
did you also have...
Remember when we had Georgia Karhanian on our show?
Yep.
And he said that, he's just going to bring basically hell down on anybody in the division?
Yes.
And then he lost. Well, we're going to see deja vu. You're talking about a gunfight between Brandon Ward and Fernando Gonzalez. Georgia Karhanian versus Daniel Pineda has that opportunity to go 15 minutes of straight hell. You wanted to see two guys standing in front of each other and throwing leather? Here's the two guys. These both guys can also, if they don't want to stand, can very well finish the fight on the ground. So, if you want to see a good fight on SpikeTV.com, they got some legit guys. You want to sit by a computer? Go watch those two guys. You want to watch a main fight on free TV?
You're going to want to watch these guys.
Those two.
Right.
You're going to want to watch Andre Korskov versus Chitty. Brendan Ward versus Fernando Gonzalez.
My victors, I'm going with Chitty. I'm going with Ward. Going with A.J. McKee. I got Chris Honeycutt. Another name that nobody's talking about are the two women fights. Vita Vertega's on the card.
You should have flipped those, the two women fights, and you should have flipped them and put Karhanian, Daniel Pineda, Chris Honeycutt, and such onto this
Dude,
fight.
I would have put Arlene Blencow versus Sinead Kavanaugh on there, considering that there's so much high hopes for Kavanaugh.
You know, we're about going over in our time, but we got still so much more to talk. So you know what? We're going to make it a special.
Yeah, we're going over just a little bit.
We're grooving right now.
Right?
So, as we're grooving, you saw that with Terrance Crawford, who was grooving in his fight against Ndongo, where he dropped him in the third round with a body shot. You know, I was talking to...
That fight was such a mismatch.
It was.
And we tried to sell it so hard that Ndongo had a shot. And we were called out by Blake Stevenson of
Loaded
Joe's. He was like, dude, how can you guys give that? My boy T-Dub got it. And I was laughing because, dude, we are the guys that, you know, while everybody's talking about left side, we're going to talk about the right side. So even though in our minds,
we're like, yeah, you're right.
You're right, but we're going to give you a different opinion and a different retrospect about why something might be able to go this way.
Like we pulled our Dan Hardy.
Yes.
But what was interesting is that in this fight, Terrance Crawford is naturally a right-hander. He was basically fighting southpaw. And he's now primarily featured as a southpaw.
Yep.
He now collects all 4 belts.
Only for the International Boxing Federation, the IBF, to mandate a fight and say that he has to face the number 1 contender for the IBF,
which is Sergey Limpets.
And you have till August 31st to either A, one of two options, put in a purse bid and fight the mandatory IBF number 1, or you vacate the IBF title.
See, now if you're Crawford and you're looking at Sergey Limpets, who is the number 1 guy to his crown in the IBF, why would you want to fight that guy when he's only 12-0?
Why would you fight a guy that brings you no name recognition,
Correct,
brings you no money to the table?
But if you're looking at the other aspect of something that can maybe potentially bring you more money, why would you mandate that guy as the challenger when you have a guy whose name is Antonio Orozco, who's 26-0, 17 knockouts? He's scheduled to fight Roberto Ortiz, who's 35-1, at the T-Mobile Arena for the NABC Super Lightweight title and the WBC United States.
Like a mouthful.
And the WBC United States USNBC Super Lightweight title. That was a mouthful. See, you had to do that too. Hey,
you gotta groove with it so you can remember how to
say it all. But if you're looking at Terrance Crawford and what he's done and the fact that he's unified titles, that fight on paper would be more interesting. What better way? You know what? You already have 4 titles in the 140 division. Why not collect another 2?
Okay. I totally agree with that. And you know what's interesting is that I when I do research, I try to find the golden nuggets and dig way deep. Way deep. And you know what? I found a fight on YouTube that reminded me of this fight. Curry versus McCory in 1985. I wasn't even born then. But nonetheless, I was able to go to YouTube, find a little bit of a snippet from the Curry versus McCory. And one reason why I say this is because Curry versus McCory, Curry defeated an undefeated title holder to become a unified champion. Both Curry and Bud show the exact same patience and poise and explosiveness. Curry is Bud, and had to, just like that, he had to make a decision between 147 or 140.
And that's what happened on Sunday when he went on SportsCenter and announced that, hey, you know what? I'm thinking I'm going to move up to 147. Oh, by the way, I just want to shout out Russ Edwards. Thank you for joining the show.
Kylie Mayer is in the chat room. Thank you for joining.
So you look at the fact that he came out and announced that he was thinking about moving up to 147. The possibilities are ridiculous for Crawford. If you're looking at the fact that Crawford wants to be the elite and the best and the pound-for-pound guys in boxing, look at the people he can potentially fight, okay? IBF champion Earl Spence Jr., WBA and WBC champion Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter.
All of which fight on the other promotion.
Granted, it may be hard to get those done because of the fact that they're with PBC and Al Heyman. But if you go across the bow, you're talking about, again, wanting to be the next big thing. If he wants to stay in the IBF realm, if he wants to stay with Top Rank, then what about getting the winner of Jeff Horn versus Manny Pacquiao too? Because what many people don't know, Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn are going to fight for a rematch in November.
And after that, there's talk that Manny may retire. But if this Crawford money train keeps pushing forward, then you're looking at a possible Pac-Man versus Crawford, and then in which I think this fight is fixed, because then at 39 years old, Manny Pacquiao passes the torch to Crawford, and you make him a star, and it's like the finger poke of death from Hulk Hogan to Kevin Nash, and we got our star right there.
Oh, no doubt. And I tend to agree with that. I mean, you want to put him on a pedestal and make him the pound-for-pound guy? It would be great news for Terrance Crawford, and if you don't know who he is, you're talking about a guy that has the ability of what Floyd Mayweather is, but has the power Floyd Mayweather doesn't have.
And let's just pump the brakes, too. And let's just pump the brakes, too, on the fact that Crawford is not a pound for pound one of the top 10 fighters. I'm sorry. Because he can't sell a pay-per-view. See Victor Prospol. Didn't sell. Lowest rating on ESPN. Come on. Just saying.
You look at another fight that people
Farewell tour coming up for
that
Miguel Cotto.
people are sleeping on is Miguel Cotto versus Kamagi.
Dude, same thing. If y'all don't want to buy the Mayweather and Floyd, the Mayweather and Conor fight,
this is live on HBO.
If you don't want to drop $100, watch on free TV. Go watch Cotto versus Kamagi.
He comes back after a 2-year absence after getting beat badly by Canelo. Now to be interested to see if he's got that left hook still or that left uppercut still in his tank.
But he's made it.
But he's signed with now Golden Boy Promotions.
Good for him.
He bailed out of Rock Nation because they couldn't come to an agreement on a previous fight. So now here's what's interesting. This is another one of those things like Terrance Crawford versus Ndongo. Here you go. Let's. He's respectable because he's got 2 titles. We'll throw him up there and throw him on a pedestal. Well, Kamagi is ranked number 6, apparently.
Allegedly.
But yeah, he's 3-2 in the last 6, and he lost to Alfonso Gomez and Roberto Guerrero.
From the Contender Series.
Alfonso Gomez, that's a throwback. I've always thought he was a pretty good fighter, just like Ishii Smith. But you look at Miguel Cotto, and looking at this was one of those fights that was, okay, this is for the WBO junior middleweight title. If he wins this is another setup to another potential thing that people have already been discussing on the underground, is that if Cotto wins the WBO title, it'll set up
and I love this fight.
Golden Boy's very own
Yep.
David Lemieux for a title shot. If you're not excited about that fight,
you're not a boxing fan.
Just saying. And it'll be at a catch weight of 156, but the question will be asked, would David Lemieux be able to make that weight? Because he has struggled in the past to make certain weights. Is 156 too low for him?
Absolutely. And on our way out, just to end it, it is, without a shadow of a doubt, it's going to happen. Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. It's going to happen. Rigondeaux is coming up 2 weight classes to fight at 130 versus Lomachenko. It'll either go down December 9th or December 23rd. It's going down. So after 2 years of ducking, it's going to happen.
And you know what? We missed a couple of comments
in
the chat room that we wanted to touch on. Trey Waterman takes on George Reed for VMFL September 2nd in Indiana. Our boy Josh Griggs. Sorry, Josh, if you're watching the show. I was going to try to get you on the show this week. Hopefully we still didn't miss that window to get you on next week.
Right.
Before your fight. But if not, good luck, boy. Looking forward to finding out what your outcome is. Again, bravo for coming back and fighting for a good cause. Trey Waterman is 2-0 as an amateur, making quite a name for himself in True Form Entertainment out in Indiana. I feel that he will come back and defeat George Reed again.
Oh, hands down.
And I not mean again as if he's done it before. I just think he's going to go 3-0. You're looking at that George Reed in his first amateur went the distance.
I just think that Trey Waterman has the power.
He's shown it.
And he has a little bit more speed than Reed. I think matchup-wise, this makes it a very good fight for Trey Waterman. And to continue to progress in the amateur circle and push forward, Waterman has this.
Waterman has it. I say again, he gets another first-round finish. Either TKO. Maybe he swings the pot up a little bit and submits the guy.
Yep.
Evan Almighty in the chat room on YouTube says that Jon Jones did this to himself. Absolutely he did. There's no way, there's no ifs, ands, or but about it. The outcome of this is one of the worst things, one of the most tragic stories since this side of Mayhem Miller. There's not a whole lot you could say. There's not a whole lot you can do.
It's just, unfortunately,
What was a couple of other comments that we missed?
I'm trying to pull it up right now on our way out of here.
Want to make sure we get to all of them that we missed earlier.
So, Joseph S. King, there's our answer for
For
that.
Trey Waterman versus George Reed.
John Richard McElroy wants to know, despite the outcome and punishment, will Jon Jones ever fight again? I say absolutely he will fight again. He will happen. It won't be in the UFC.
Yeah, it won't be in the UFC. Maybe it's like Roberto Villa and Fightbook said, is that maybe it'll be in Ryzen. If he doesn't fight in overseas, I mean, he's not going to fight stateside anymore.
No.
Nobody's going to want him unless he goes to wrestling and fights Brock Lesnar. That's about it.
Maybe
he'll join Ronda Rousey over there.
Yeah. USADA getting back at him for hiding underneath the practice ring. Stop with the conspiracy theories. He did it, plain and simple.
There's that one, Trey Davenport. Yeah. USADA, if USADA wanted to get back at him, they could have been a little bit more dirty about it. But I believe that there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He did it to himself. He knew what he was doing. His camp knew what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
His inner circle knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
So that's it. But shout out to everybody that joined us.
Thank you, man.
Today. We'll see you guys all again next week. We went a little bit long because we had a very special show and a good show for that matter. We were just grooving and feeling it, and that's what we do.
Yep, we're the Duke Cross Brothers, Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Duke Cross. Along my side, as always, my partner in crime, Sean Duke Cross. We do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us in the chat room. We'll answer the questions, interact with you guys on Facebook, on YouTube. And just add us.
We don't bite.
Yeah, just add us, Sean and Tristan Duke Cross. Follow our Facebook page, Ducross Bros. You can also follow us on Twitter at the Ducross Bros. Go to our website, www.ducrossbrothers.com. Any way you can find us, Ducross Brothers. Google us. We're all over the place.
Don't forget, chat us up on Fightbook MMA.
Yes, also don't forget, September 3rd. Stay tuned.
Cage Wars.
Cage Wars.
Your boys.
Yes, sir.
So next week, we'll be talking about Cage Wars that are starting. Good call.
Yes.
Joseph Phoebus, if you're watching us, we got you. We'll get you guys next week. Till next time, we are out.